move on to SSR Mining. And we've got Paul and Monica with us here today. So, and, okay, there
You've
we
also
go.
got Devin.
Devin is here.
Oh, Devin, hi, Devin.
Yeah. No worries. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to do the intro here. Like you said, there's three of us today. There's Paul, who is our principal geoscientist, and Monica, who's a project geologist, and then myself, senior geologist. We are all members of the exploration department within SSR Mining. So I'd like to thank Matt for a good run through of what exploration can bring to the table, because that certainly is an industry of its own. But today we're just here to chat a little bit about SSR Mining in Saskatchewan itself, and of course our Seabee gold operation, which is about 125K northeast of L'Orange. We're going to kind of tag in and out, all three of us on this one. So we're going to start with Paul, and he's going to go through a few slides and then transition over to myself and then Monica.
All right, yeah, thanks, Devin. So as Devin
Paul, before you get started, absolutely. I don't know if we are seeing presenters view of your PowerPoint. You might want to change that.
Yep, that's not me controlling that, so I'm sure Devin will fix it. But I will get started nonetheless. Just thanks, Kara, for this opportunity again. I know that we try a lot to sort of engage with you as much as we can. What you're seeing here is a photo of the Seabee gold operation. It is a fly-in, fly-out camp located approximately 125 kilometers northeast of L'Orange. And, it's been mining continuously since 1991. Over that time, it's produced about 1.5 million ounces of gold, which is a significant amount. It used to be a small sort of unknown deposit, but lately it's been getting a lot more street credit, and that's been helping us grow and helping us evolve as a company, with a lot of opportunities that we hope to present to the viewers and participants here today.
Oh, are you guys seeing everything normally now?
It's better, yeah.
Yes, we are, yes.
Okay, cool.
So the Seabee gold operation is an underground mine. Like I said, it's been in operation continuously since 1991. Currently, we're producing a little over 1,000 tons per day from the Santoy mine. We're hoping to produce about 120,000 ounces of gold in 2021. There were two mining camps, the Seabee mine, which was the original one that started mining in 1991. That was decommissioned in 2018. But we also have the Santoy mining camp, which is about 14 kilometers to the east, which is ongoing and has a long and prospective life ahead of it. The mine workings there, about a little over 600 meters below surface. And as with any underground mining, there's a lot of opportunity for work and labor. Boom and jumbo operators, drillers, miners, blasters, bolters, muckers, as you can see in the middle photo there, and scoop operators. There's just a lot that goes into operating one of these mines, and a lot of job opportunities that are inherently around because of it. This is just a couple of photos you can see on the left. The grid that is being drilled, and that's how they put the explosives in. They grid on the drill. They put explosives in at each hole, and then that's how they develop the mine. And on the right, they're doing ground support, which is a constant and very important part of underground mining. So he's drilling some support into the face of the wall and the back of the mine, so that the ground is secure and you can walk under there safely.
Yeah, and something that the Northlands College offers is training on equipment such as this also, especially that long hole drill on the left.
That's right. Yeah. And Devin and I have both been to Northlands College a couple of times and have looked at those simulators. They're very excellent. If you're interested in anything like that, I certainly and strongly suggest that you contact Northlands College. to see the kind of training that they have available. All things underground and mining really falls under the guise or under the purview of the Technical Services Department. They do all of the designing and all of the planning for the mining activities by looking at sort of all of the data available and how best to go about extracting the gold from underground, essentially. It's not just professionals, you know, there are geologists, there are surveyors, and engineers, but there's a whole realm of people that fall under this, you know, key critical part of the mining operations. And these positions listed are only a few of a lot that are available to someone who is interested in sort of being part of the mine team. This is just what you're looking at here is a section through the mine. So this is the development. I don't know if we have a pointer, Devin, but you can show the portal.
Yeah, do you see that or?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
So access to the mine is from a ramp on surface. There is no shaft or elevator like there are at some underground mines. So you actually drive down. All this gray area has already been mined out, and that's an old deposit. And then we found this new one over here, and you just keep going down and down and down, and you blast and you muck, and then you scoop all of that stuff and you drive it back up to surface, which is a long journey, you know, and the deeper you go, the more difficult it becomes, but that's why all these people are heavily involved. And you know, we'll leave it off to Devin for what happens after there and the other components of the mine and the other people involved to kind of make the whole operation keep going seamlessly.
Yeah, for sure. So as Paul was alluding to there, you got your underground teams and your tech services. They're collecting they're what's really moving the material that we need, right, to get the gold up to the surface, which is a pretty long journey and it involves a lot of underground dump trucks and things. Many of those positions we kind of touched on already, but eventually it's transported over to the mill, and not every operation has this, but we do. We have a mill on the site. It's pretty common for the gold industry, but we process all of the rock within the mill, and what you generate in the end is called a dory bar. You're seeing that on the bottom there. What it is a gold brick, but it's not completely purified yet, right? It'll be like 98% or something like that. That goes off to like a spire, and then they further refine it down to the like 99.9% gold that you're probably used to seeing in movies and stuff. But lots of positions in the mills, such as a little more technical ones in the lab, like assayers and sample prep technicians. But then you've got foremen, lead hands, lots of laborers in there. There's lots of equipment, some of it specialized, some of it not so much, but there's a lot to know and a lot to learn in that setting. This is just a pretty complicated flow through chart of what goes on in the mill. I only have a basic understanding of it, but to sum it up in a nutshell, the rock is crushed, is passed through a series of different mills to turn it into almost like a fine powder. It goes through a bit of a centrifuge type thing that spins all the material around. That uses gravity separation. It's called a Nelson concentrator. That will get out quite a bit of the gold. The remaining gold is put into leaching tanks and carbon in pulp tanks. There are a number of reactions that happen, typically involving cyanide, that will then leach out the last bit of the gold into a solution that they can then process and combine with the gold that was separated through the gravity circuit into those dory bars. This is a picture of what the mill looks like. This is kind of the entire mill facility in here, right next to the old head frame, which used to service the Seabee mine, which is now shut down for now. It's not fully decommissioned yet, but they've flooded it and pulled all the equipment out. You do see a little bit of other stuff here too, like our service warehouse, but most of the camp facilities are out of frame. And our airstrip is just up the hill over here. And what you're seeing is Lena Lake. Sometimes we do get boat planes in on these lakes to bring people in and out, or groceries. Definitely more common for exploration than other departments. Here's a shot of what the inside of the mill looks like. There is a lot going on in there. Just below the frame here, we've got a big ball mill. And then you have your secondary ball mill in here. I'm not really familiar with what a lot of the other stuff is, but as you can see, there's a lot going on in there. Brings me over to a couple of really important departments for our operations. This is kind of 3 departments rolled into one here for a slide, but we've got an environmental department. There's a health and safety as well. But the big thing that the environmental department's doing, they're out there to make sure that we are being stewards to the land and that we are not inclement or negatively affecting the environment in which we work in, right? A lot of that is legal obligations, but a lot of it is, you know, our own moral obligations as well. Definitely pretty underrated group, I would say. A lot of times the environmental group, they go out, they work in the remote areas just like we do. You get to see a lot of things. You get to do a lot of, you know, bushwhacking type work if that's something that you're interested in. A lot of water testing, stuff like that. We also have an entire team of safety personnel, and they're just kind of going around inspecting work sites, developing procedures, making sure that we're following mine best practices and that everyone's, you know, working safe and everybody gets to go home at the end of the day to their families. But obviously we need a lot of people to fill these safety roles and these environmental roles. We also keep a nurse on site at all times, and that's a registered nurse. That's just to act as sort of like a first responder in the event of any sort of emergency or something at the mine site. Yeah. So moving on to yet another very important group, the surface crew. So this would be the crews that are responsible for all things that keep the day-to-day operations up, like the beating heart, you might call them. They maintain the roads, they move the ore, not just like from underground, but also from the mine over to the mill. You know, they employ heavy duty equipment operators who do repairs on the mobile equipment. There's also light duty trucks. So both types of equipment mechanics. We get electricians, plumbers, welders, carpenters, so all those trades that we discussed earlier in the day-to-day. General laborers, and then of course an entire group of supply chain people who are making sure we get all the things we need in a timely manner and everything is accounted for. So probably you could call these the the brains of the operation, the administrations. These are your managers, your IT department, human resources. These people handle the hiring, the firing, the management of the crews. They make sure that we're aware of all the best practices and following them. They make sure that the people get in and out of site in a timely manner. They keep all of our computers and systems running as well. Definitely nothing happens without administration. Monica, you want to take this?
Sure. As for the camp, it has an occupancy of around 240 people. This excludes exploration, which has 3 separate camps, each operating with about 40% capacity to house drillers and facilitating staff. The mine camp itself has positions for cooks, breakfast cooks, bakers, kitchen helpers, housekeepers, and janitorial staff. These are the crews that facilitate the health and happiness of the employees that are working around site to operate the mine. So this includes operating the gym and having fishing on the lakes, but also keeping your rooms clean, providing entertainment like poker nights and recreational spaces.
Forget
the next
bingo,
one.
Monica.
And bingo. The next one is the mine rescue team. This is the team that handles all the emergency scenarios on site. They participate in regular training exercises around site for various styles of incidents. So should there be a gas leak underground or a broken leg on site, these are the guys that are coming to rescue you. They participate in mine rescue competitions that are interprovincial. And I think they do quite well.
Yeah.
The next one is the department that we're all part of, exploration. We're responsible for the discovery and development of new ore deposits. So we're the ones that are on the ground, verifying and identifying new anomalies that can continue to feed the mine and the mill. Positions include geologists, which require BSc in geology or environmental sciences, but many of these are also entry-level positions like core tech, core cutter, drillers, prospectors, and samplers, which are seasonal staff. And we were very fortunate this year with Kara to help us find new employees for our summer program that'll be operating shortly. And then, of course, our community outreach and Northern Community Workforce, which is 19% residents of the North as of this year. 32% of the workers have self-declared as Aboriginal status. Extensive training programs to ensure employees can safely advance into skilled work include mobile equipment training, working at heights, rigging and sligging, first aid and CPR, supervision, surveying, and several more. We also have employee apprenticeship programs, and we work with many colleges like Northlands College, KCDA, and SIIT to get as much northern work development as possible. So the next slide is just how to apply. If you go to this website, there are around 30 positions available right now, all over SSR properties, so keep that in mind, but there are some for PA, Saskatoon, and La Ronge residents at the moment.
Yeah, and lots of different entry-level jobs in the different fields as well as exploration. For us this year, exploration is very seasonal, and we have a seasonal hire cycle. We're pretty much full for the summer, but every fall and every spring we go through the whole process all over again. So yeah, if you're interested, keep us in mind, and we'd be happy to hear from you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Sorry, we've just really tried to develop these relationships where we have repeat seasonal employees coming back. You know, we find it beneficial to them and also beneficial to us, where they can come in, you know, fully trained from the season prior and roll into different positions, you know, depending on what our activities are, be it in the winter or the summer or the spring or the fall. To have a consistent list of reliable people is, you know, it's something we always look for and try to develop, and we've really made some great strides and some great improvements to the team by kind of developing those people in-house, you know, from the local communities, and it's been great. We look very much forward to doing more of that.
Thank you so much. So yes, we've got another question from Mervyn McIntyre, and then we have to move on to our next presentation. Monica, I just want to ask you quickly, can you throw that link into our chat so people can just click on the link to apply?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. And we've got a question from Mervyn McIntyre.
I'm seeing this in the chat. Are there current postings for underground personnel, or is COVID placed a wait time?
There are postings.
There are postings. I'm not up to snuff with exactly what's on there now outside of the exploration department. But yeah, apparently there are. COVID hasn't placed a wait time on, like I say, in the exploration department, and like Devin and Monica have said, we've just finished a round of hiring for the summer, which gone very, very smoothly. So, you know, it hasn't really done too much. As long as you go through the proper channels and you do your pre-screening medical, and then you'll be tested before flying to site, and everything moves forward from there. But yeah, it has had much of an impact. Less so at our site than at some of the other mines. We were shut down obviously for a little bit, but everything is full steam ahead right now.
Thank you so much, and thank you to SSR Mining for participating